In question 19, we're given Amina posts 3 large letters and each letter costs the same to post. So they're all equal postage. Now, she pays with a £20 note and her change is £14.96. And we need to work out what is the postage for each letter. That is our question we need to answer. Now let's find out how much the 3 large letters cost to post by subtracting £14.96 from £20. So let's write that here. £20, and I'm going to write 2 decimal places for the pence. Now we need to take away £14.96. £14.96. And this is our calculation. So let's start with the column on the right. 0, take away 6, we can't do, so we go to the neighbour, but that's 0 as well, so we can't borrow anything from that yet. So let's go over to the next neighbour. That's got 0, so we can't do anything with that. So what we have to do is go to the 2 and borrow 1 from there. So this 2 is crossed out and becomes a 1. Now the one we've borrowed turns this 0 into 10. Now this 0 can borrow 1 from this 10. So this 10 gets crossed out and becomes a 9. Now the one we've borrowed turns this 0 into a 10. And now finally, this 0 can borrow 1 from this column. So we cross this 10 out and it becomes 9. And the one we've borrowed here turns this 0 into a 10. Now we can do 10, take away 6, which is 4. 9, take away 9, which is 0. Now we have to carefully bring this decimal point down and line it up. It's important that. 9, take away 4, which is 5. And finally 1, take away 1, which is nothing, so we can leave that. We say £5 and 4 pence. So I now know that this is the cost of the 3 letters. Now our next step is to divide this number by 3 because there's 3 letters and each letter costs the same amount. So let's go ahead and do that. So 5.04 divided by 3. And what I like to do is I like to write it as 5.04 divided by 3. It's raining. And the £5, 4 pence is getting wet, so we build a bus shelter for that. So we put that there carefully. 5.04. And now the 3 has to go outside. Now, how many 3s are there in 5? Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can make one group of 3. And I've not got enough to make another group. So my answer is 1 and remainder 2. And the remainder gets carried over to the next column. Over to the 0. So now that turns that 0 into a 20. So how many 3s are there in 20? Now if you know your times tables, it will be easy. So let's go ahead and do that. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. That's too much. So we stop there. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many 3s are there in 20? There's 6. So we put the 6 here. Now we've only used 18, but we had 20. So we have a remainder of 2. So the 2 gets carried over here. And the 4 becomes 24. So how many 3s are there in 24? So let's continue our times table down here. So after 21, it's 24. So we can stop straight away there. So let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 lots of 3 in 24. So how many 3s in 24? 8. Now I'm going to take this decimal point and place it there very carefully. Now that is my answer now. 1.68. Let me write that here. 1.68. And because we're dealing with money, our answer is £1.68. Now I want to look at another way of doing 20 take away 14.96. What some children do, they use a number line. They start at £14.96 and they go all the way to £20.0. And what they do is they jump forward. So I'm going to jump from £14.96 to £15. Now, how much did I add there? I added 4 pence. So we'll write plus 4. Now, I'm going to go from 15 all the way to 20. So from £15 to £20, I am adding £5. So I can write that as 500 pence. Now altogether I've added 4 pence plus 500 pence, which is 504 pence. And to turn pence into pounds, all you simply do is move the decimal point from there. So that's 1, 2 places. So the decimal point has gone there now. So I can rub this off. Now we have this. We put a pound sign in front of it and it's £5 and 4 pence. In question 20, we need to find out if 0.25 is smaller than 2/5. Now one way of doing this is to turn this into a decimal. And the way I like to do it is to write it down as a fraction, 2/5. Or 2 divided by 5. It's raining. And 2 is getting wet, so we build it a bus shelter. So the 2 has to go inside. And the 5 has to go outside. Now with this type of question, what I like to do is I like to add a decimal point and 1 or 2 zeros. So let's just add a longer bus shelter. So now these 2 are friends for this, but you have to put the decimal point in. So what I'm going to do is move this decimal point here so I don't lose it. Now what I can do is ask myself, how many 5s are there in 2? I can't get any, I've not got enough, so I put a 0 there. And this 2 gets carried over to the next column. So this 0 becomes 20. How many 5s are there in 20? I know that that is 4 because I know my 5 times table. 5, 10, 15, 20. I can stop there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 4 there. Because I've got no remainder, I can stop here. So my answer is 0.4. So that there is 0.4. Now I can try to compare the two. So let me write them two numbers down here. 0.25 and 0.4. Now be careful here. This has got one decimal place. This has got two decimal places. And this looks bigger. But if you notice, this has got 1, 2 decimal places after the decimal point. And this one has only got 1. So we need to make the same number of decimal places so we can compare them properly. So I'm going to add a helper 0, a placeholder. So now I have 0.40, 0.25. Now what I can do in my head, I can compare the 25 and the 40. Which one's bigger? I can see 40 is bigger. So now I can write that 2/5 is bigger than 0.25. Or if I use the crocodile symbol, and because the crocodile eats the larger number, it's going to eat the 0.4. So 0.25 is less than 0.40. Or you can say 0.25 is smaller than 0.40.